people would say, "Are you drinking?" And I'd say, "No, man." And it'd be like there's blood in the water, and the sharks would come out, and then all of a sudden, at some point, I just went, "I don't drink anymore." And people would ask me that question, and I'd say, "Yeah, no, I don't drink. No sharks." Like I can't remember the last time somebody
Yeah.
did it. It's been years, probably. There you go. I've counted us in now.
There we go. I feel better now that we're starting this way. So we wanted to talk today about this idea of how alcohol becomes an identity for a lot of us, or a big piece of our identity. This is something I feel very strongly. This is something I went through. Like, I used to be the Scotch guy. I know I've told the story a million times.
Not the
What?
Scotch guy, the Scotch guy.
I was Scott the Scotch guy. How about that?
Just
Yeah.
wanted to clear that up in case somebody heard that and thought, huh?
Well, I used to be, and I remember, I know some of you have heard the story before, but I had years ago when I was dating my first wife before we got married, we had different Christmases to go to, like different family Christmases to go to. And I think we went to 3 of them. And at all 3 of them, I got alcohol related gifts. And I remember, like, after it was done, just kind of thinking, huh, like that was what I got. I got, like, really nice wine glasses, nice Scotch glasses. I think I got a bottle of Scotch. I can't even remember what else, but like, it was like, that was what everyone saw. Like, when they thought of Scott, they thought of drinking, which at the time, and this is not to blame anyone, to be clear, but like at the time, I just kind of registered it as, that's interesting. Like, huh, weird. Looking back on it now, I realized like how much of my personality that had been. Like, I was always the guy. First of all, I was always willing to drink. Secondly, I always really wanted to drink, and I felt like the jokey, 3/4 trashed version of me was like the fun version of me, and that's what I always wanted to put forward. And so that was me. I was always walking around with a drink in my hand, and it became a big part of who I was, or at least the way who I was to myself. We'll put it that way. And I found this is really common. Like, I don't know, did you experience this, Sam? Like, was this part of what you went through?
Starts early, as far as I can see, for some of us.
Mhm.
I don't know, like, and maybe this is, I can only speak from my own experience, but being pretty kind of insecure and kind of, I guess, quite, maybe a bit introverted, that kind of thing. And then alcohol seemed to be this kind of golden elixir. And so then, you become more fun at parties, or you feel more relaxed socially or whatever. And then, it becomes and then you start, and before you know it, I mean, I started drinking when I was 12. So before you know it, you start
Mhm.
doing it in all the social situations that you can get away with. And, and then by the time I got to university and I used to, be in the drum and bass and the electronic music society and that kind of thing. Um, and so things like the last man standing, the
Mhm.
person who could take more substances than anyone else, these were like sort of
Yep.
like badges of honor, but they're a leaky bucket. Like I can, they leave you feeling pretty kind of hollow, because you just like, though, that if you play that out to its the far reaches of what it means that you're the last person up, the person who's trying to consume more drink or whatever it is than anybody else. And you're proving a point and all the rest of it. And then you have to suffer the price of that, which is, of course, is hangovers and all the rest of it. But yeah, and then it becomes a part of our identity. And it's funny actually, because now I'm thinking, yeah, I don't like the idea of the flip of it as well. I sort of kind of talk out against the idea that we become getting to get the identity of the addict, or the identity
Yeah.
of being sober. It's like, no, you're just you. You.
Yeah.
I just tell people I don't drink at this point. Like, there's no
Yeah.
identity wrapped around it. It's just I'm just me, and it doesn't make sense to drink. But yeah, man, I think it starts in my own way, not just with alcohol, with many other things as well. You're the person that can roll the best spliff. Like, look at this spliff. Like, it's like fractal,
Yeah.
man. Like, if you get enough
Yeah.
polyjuice going, there's all sorts of ways that you can make yourself the this guy or the that guy or the whatever guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the things is that, for those of us who get really caught up and don't start slowing down or whatever, uh, then, then everybody else does, and you're left being that guy. And
Hmm.
you talk about going to parties and trying to get everybody drinking, or trying to get everybody doing shots, or
Yeah.
all that kind of. I've done it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, no doubt.
Well, I definitely noticed, by the time like I kept going at like college pace, and then I saw other people slow down. And in my head at the time, they were just wimps. Like it was just like, again, because it was that the identity piece. So I get that. And one of the things you mentioned was like this idea of like now being identified as the non-drinker. Like I don't look at any of it that way. And actually the concept or idea of identity, which this is maybe a whole other conversation, but like when we kind of let go of that stuff, and I look at, instead of I was the Scotch guy for 15 years, now I'm like, that was a phase in my life. And it was something that I moved through, and I don't cling to these things anymore. Right. And that is a really big thing to see, because when we can, and I'm sure I know I've worked with a lot of people who were similar, like the drinking person, the drinking, but the one who was fun, the one who would, like all of that stuff. Um, it's funny how we start to realize that there really wasn't much there, and that the pieces that were there, like for me, the pieces of Scott the Scotch guy that were there and were fun, that was me, right? There was this edifice around it of drinking. There was this sort of constructed idea of like, oh, we need to do this to have fun. But the spirit of it, right? The vibe of it, like that was all me. And so I'm still all of those things. So that's why it's difficult for me to say, like, looking back on it now, like I don't know that was a version of my identity, and now I'm in a new version of who I am and showing up in the world. And I find that framing it that way can what is
I'm
this? You're laughing at me, but I was gonna say I find that
not
framing it
laughing at
that way is like shedding a skin. Go
I'm
ahead.
not
What do
laughing at you. I was just about to say you're far cooler now. I have seen a picture of you about
you?
10 years ago, and I can confirm heavily that Scott Pinyard is fucking way cooler now than he used to be. Um,
Someday I will share that publicly.
it's
We
fucking great. um, yeah, man, absolutely. And I mean, look, we're always going to have identity. Like that's one of the things we construct identity around all sorts of things.
Mhm.
It's nothing. It's just part of being human. But it's we construct an identity around a TV show that we love, and we talk about, or we construct an identity. It's cool, like to do that kind of stuff. It's cool in the sense of like it's just what we do. It's like
Yeah.
it's all good. I guess it's just that when we think that one identity, well, like it tends to feel like the limit of us, or if somebody's
Yes.
carrying an identity around being an addict and they feel that the stigma and they feel a lot of shame, like it's not the limit. That's not the limits of who they are. It's just an idea that they've got about themselves, which is not.
Mm.
We're infinite. Given that we can inhabit as many identities as we could possibly imagine over a lifetime,
Yeah.
literally infinite. And yeah, I think I think there's obviously serious implications of having the identity of the drinker or whatever it might be.
Sure.
And it
Yeah.
falling away is really, really nice. It's just, I remember writing a post. This would have been for I think it was 7 years. I wrote a post. I've read a few times to people where I said something like, yesterday was my 7 year alcohol free anniversary, or something like, why didn't I write this post yesterday? Because I was having too much fun and I forgot. Well, so here I am today, kind of like talking about it. And I said, not drinking, isn't a thing. I can't remember exactly what I said, but the point I was making was, you know, well, it's up to us. Like if it makes sense to us and feels empowering to identify with being sober or being
Yeah.
alcohol free, then all power to you. But you don't have to. Like for me, it's at this point, I'm just Sam, and I'm like, I don't drink. It's funny how we wrap our identity around a substance and then we feel like we need to wrap our identity around the absence of a substance. And I think we've been taught that over nearly 100 years or more now through many of the traditional ways of stopping drinking or whatever. It's like you re-identify with somebody
Hmm.
who has a problem, or with a word like alcoholic or addict or whatever. And these then you kind of build a protection mechanism around your new identity. But it's safe to come to recognize who we are before and beyond all of that stuff. And then the labels that we choose or don't choose are the ones that we choose or don't choose.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything more than that, right? Yeah.
I think I mean, yes, it's true about the addiction stuff in that conversation, but like as a culture, certainly, and I mean, I can only speak for here in the States, but like we've been taught to identify ourselves as a lot of different things for a whole bunch of different reasons, for political reasons, for certainly for, economic or to sell shit to us reasons.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny because when what you just mentioned there was like once we see who we are beyond all of that, like none of it really matters. And when you said that, I kind of flashed back to like all of the different things I have identified as over my time frame. And I have like well, you saw the picture, but like I have like, I've been very different people, over my lifetime. And I've claimed different political like I am this, right? Like sports teams is another one for me, like we all do this. Like we all take this and there is something very tribal and very primal about it, about the feeling of identity, about the feeling of like belonging and like knowing who we are. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's so strongly utilized by marketing and politics. But like when you step out of it, and I would challenge listeners to do this, like think back over your life. There has been a you that is consistent beyond all of that, right? And maybe it's the experience of being you, however you want to put it. When you start to see that, like this identity stuff, it kind of falls away. And maybe there's phases, like I think Scott the Scotch guy was a phase. And for a large chunk of that phase, that was fun, like that was it. And then it wasn't, right? And then we went in a different direction. But I'm still here. Like I've been here the whole time.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the thing, people usually go towards personhood, right? But in any phrase where you have an I am, and then, which is which is the constant, the fact of being or presence or consciousness, however you want to relate to it or talk about it. I was just finding a quote, Buckminster Fuller quote. I live on earth at present, and I don't know what I am. I know that I'm not a category. I'm not a thing, a noun. I seem to be a verb, an evolutionary process, an integral function of the universe. Great quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're a verb, not a noun. We're a process, not an object. So like the verb, and yet there is like, I think another metaphor that's nice is that of the cinema screen, the what, like that which consciousness, that which means that this is being witnessed or recognized. And then of course everything else, I mean, you talk about a lifetime. I mean, fuck me, how many people can you show up over as the course of an hour, at the course of an hour? Like if you
Yeah.
think about the
Yeah.
who are you when you go and see your parents? Who are you when you go and hang out at work? Who are you when you go and it's constantly changing and shifting, and that's safe. Like it's part of it. We are that verb. We are constantly, we are all of those things and none of those things at the same time. And like when this kind of constant, it is that recognition of that unchanging aspect of who and what we really are that we're yearning for through all these identities. It's like life playing, fucking about and playing. It's like a game of hide and seek, as far as I
Yeah.
can tell. Um, and yeah, it's just, I think it's a nice one to talk about though, because I think a lot of people, whatever, however it is, for many of us, a lot of people really get an identity wrapped around the behavior or the substance or the whatever. And
Yeah. Just the general lifestyle, right? Just like what that is of like going out and yeah. Sorry,
and
I
then
didn't mean to
no,
interrupt.
it's true, man. But like for me, it wasn't just about going out and taking MDMA or whatever. It was, it's
Yeah.
wrapped up with the music scene. It's wrapped up with everything gets kind of conflated and amalgamated and put together and like, it's like these cultures, and like coffee culture, or it's not like there's nothing wrong with any of this stuff. It's just like extricating yourself from something if you've come to realize that, gosh, I don't think that this culture, this way of being is doing me any good, or I'm not going to be able to, like, perhaps for the recognition we both had, which is there's only so long I'm going to be able to carry on like this for. Otherwise,
Yeah.
my identity will be one altogether different. um, yeah. My mate Deb, she talks about lie identities as well. They're kind of like all these ideas that we have that aren't the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else? I thought for whatever reason when we were looking through what to
Yeah.
kind of record a video about, we both resonated with it. I think probably because for both of us, we've both had our identities very much strapped around this, and we've both been, I don't know how to put it, served our arse on a plate. I don't know how you want to put
Yeah.
it. Like after,
That's fair. That's a fair way of putting it. Yeah.
and it's kind of nice to be free of all of that and
Yeah.
just let our minds create whatever identities it does, and let go of the ones that don't make sense. And just that's part of what the ego does.
Mm.
It's always doing that, you know.
I think you're touching on a really central theme here, though, because I know that I went through this, and I have definitely talked to people who go through this. When we realize this, we realize I'm Scott, the Scotch guy, and then there is this huge like chasm of like, what am I if I'm not that?
Yeah, or not
And
the
I
party
think
animal, or yeah.
there's sort of two things that I would say to that, two things to think about. First of all, well, three. First of all, you haven't been Scott the Scotch guy your whole life. So you were something prior to that. Secondly, you're not really Scott the Scotch guy, right? That's an edifice. That's a created thing. Um, and then third, you're always becoming something different. Like that is the way your entire life has been. And I think talking through those points with someone who's feeling really nervous about this, because I mean, I'm sure you've had these clients too. Like I have clients that have like really expensive booze collections, or like,
Mhm.
wine cellars, and all these
Yeah.
different glasses. And like, I mean, I've had clients that have like special furniture for drinking different things. Like it's crazy. It's like crazy is not what I mean, but
Yeah,
like it's,
a smoking jacket.
do you have
Yeah.
a smoking jacket?
No, it's good just saying, like, I was playing the role of someone that would have a smoking jacket. Back in the day, I might have had.
I think I might have. I think I might. That might be. I'm gonna take that on. I don't smoke anymore, but like I could anyway. But like that's it, right? Like we define ourselves through this and through all this stuff. And it's so scary. It's so scary to let go of that. It's so scary. We feel like we're losing something. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is we're losing a transient thing that we move through and have moved through our whole life. And it's
And
worth
you're gonna
thinking
learn,
about
yeah,
that.
it is, man, and you're gonna learn a lot. Like I'm way more kind of, I think the term's ambivert, isn't it? You know, extrovert, introvert. Instead, like I get knackered if I socialize. I then need
Yeah.
some time to myself. Like I am not the kind of person who wants to like stay out until 9 a.m., which is news to me because I used to be doing that every freaking weekend, twice, and then
Yeah.
things will work. You know, like the stuff I used to do scares me now. Literally
Hmm.
scares me. Like you couldn't
I'm in
have.
the same boat. Yeah.
I just, you know, those things are, and like one of the things I had to realize was I couldn't just remove the substance or substances and then just live my life as was, because my entire life had been built around that. And so the kind of recognition of shit, I have to kind of figure out what I'm really into now. Like what do I value? What's important to me? What do I want to create in the world? All of these beautiful things that
Hmm.
show up when we stop drinking or whatever. And that's been really beautiful, but it takes real courage to do that. And my life now looks really different to what it used to how it used to look. Like the running joke is that I saw these cushions the other day in John Lewis in the UK. There was these two cushions, and on the front they said, "Please leave by 9:30." I was like, I need to buy those cushions. I didn't buy them, but they're great. Like I just, and that's fine. Yeah, other people are going to realize. Like I love to go to music festivals still, a couple
Hmm.
of times a week. That get like I just love the transformative kind of nature of being with a group of people who are kind of all in sync, enjoying a moment together. But I don't want to do it every weekend the way that I used to,
Yeah.
you know. And so there's
Yeah.
this ebb and this flow of identity and creativity and who am I now and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, like I think for a lot of us, for me, I realized that a lot of what I've been up to, as much of some of it was my exploration and a lot of it was also about how are other people going to see me, right? So there was a period of time in my 20s where I really was, early 20s in particular, where I wasn't saying no to anything because I was sort of like wanted to be seen as the guy that didn't say no to anything, like
Yes.
do
Yeah.
everybody at the nightclub and stuff, which has massive implications. And that was a rule. I was like, yeah, I just say yes to everything. Well, then I had to learn to say no to everything. And that
Hmm.
was in a way because I'd been the person who is always out. So then learn to listen to my wisdom and become the person who goes out when they want to and says no when they don't. I mean, there was a neurological kind of update that needed to happen.
It's a
Um,
big switch. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it takes courage to do it, and I honor it. And like, I was chatting to someone this morning, and it was sort of like weirdly when my identity was shifting, and I was still not really sure. People would say, "Are you drinking?" And I'd say, "No, man." And it'd be like there's blood in the water, and the sharks would come out, and then all of a sudden, at some point, I just went, "I don't drink anymore." And people would ask me that question, and I'd say, "Yeah, no, I don't drink." No sharks. Like I can't remember the last time somebody
Yeah.
did it. It's been years, probably. The
Yeah.
last time, it's a bit of a knobhead thing to do. I've been there. I've been the knobhead. So I
Oh my God.
got the
Yes.
radius. I've been that.
Yeah.
Been the twat who's like, come on, like you
What are
don't
you, a
drink.
quitter?
No,
Like,
you just
yeah.
do it for what. Yeah. So, so I get that, and that identity, but to have that all fall away, and to just kind of go, okay, well, what now?
Well, there's a piece of that that's really interesting, like that conversation of like, oh, no, thanks, I'm taking a break or whatever. The energy with which we sort of assert that really changes as time goes on, and it has a massive impact on how it's received.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, like the first few times I had to have that or say a version of that, and the first couple I just stumbled like a fucking idiot. Like it was ridiculous. I wish I had a recording of it, of like like I don't drink, like it was awful. But that was a reflection of my internal state of all of the anxiety and everything else. And I have found that now that, now if someone's like, hey, you want a beer? I'll be like, nah, I don't really drink. Can I have a water? And it is so matter of fact
Yeah.
that like it's received that way. It's like, human communication is more than just the words. And it's really interesting as we sort of relax or settle into or transition into or whatever you want to call it into our next identity, the confidence that comes with that, it's wonderful.
It's nice. I've got a little thing up on my wall. It says, show up, be yourself, see what happens. And it never used to look that simple to me. It was
Mm-mm.
like, show up, be who you think you need to be the
Read the
coolest
room.
person,
Yeah.
be, whatever. I'm not sure how often being the coolest person works, but whatever. And
Yeah.
then, it wasn't see what happened. It was like, try and prove your worth or whatever. All that are happening
Mm.
unconsciously, and I have no judgment on it. I'm being silly, but there's a kindness to it. It was just what made sense. But for
Yeah.
that to fall away and just to go, oh yeah, or like, and these days to get wrapped up and caught up and go, oh yeah, I was kind of showing up as the scared me there, or the this me there. To hold it really lightly and to just go, yeah, okay. And like often, like one thing. So tell you another freedom. I can't tell you how nice it is when someone used to say something that was fair. And then I'd be like, didn't want to be seen like that. So I'd have to do that. They're sort of like, oh, you're a bit aggy or something. But fuck off. No, I'm not. She just can't tell you the freedom of more and more being able. Someone's like, "Ah, you're a bit you're a bit narky." I was kind of just like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm just being a grumpy twat because of this, that." And
Yeah.
the other." Like,
Yeah.
the freedom of that's beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
you're a human being, own your humanity, right? We all have moments.
Mm.
I was listening to Michael Neal's podcast from a couple of weeks ago. Like, even Jesus had bad hair days.
Yes. I loved that. Yeah.
It's like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. So this conversation is kind of a really, really important one because I think the idea that we're going to be identity, like we can touch into a space that is before and beyond identity, but in the world of form, the ego's going to like find. I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago called "The Ego's New Costume," and actually, I put a little post onto Substack yesterday or a few days ago. It said, "I used to think spiritual insight would make me special. Thankfully, it kind of deconstructed the me that needs to be. Now I get to enjoy being ordinary." And there was a lot of people that were like resonant with that. And there was a lot of people that have said things like, this feels performative. The ego doesn't really go away. Like this is, and I've just
Mhm.
honestly responded to those comments and said, look, one, read this post that I wrote the other day, which basically says, I'm very aware that the ego can go, look how fucking ordinary I am. I'm the most ordinary person in this room. And it's just the same thing in different clothing.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to laugh at our mind as it does that. But honestly, to me, I can't tell you the relief of having given up the attempts to try and be special in all the ways that I did, like through wanting
Yeah.
to be recognized, wanting to be seen, wanting to be the expert in the room. as more and more of those things have fallen away, and there's a more kind of subtle version of like identity showing up, it's lovely. I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to fully lose. It's really helpful when I'm in Tesco and someone goes Sam, and I know who they're talking to. Like the idea that I'm going to totally lose my identity, like it's great every now and again. Like to,
Yeah.
I like if I'm set up to have a impromptu mystical experience where I become the oneness and you, that's fantastic. But that's not really going to help me with my tax return. I'm going to need to become the person who's doing his tax return in the moment. You know, tax returns
Yeah.
don't seem all that important when you're like in unity consciousness. You know, like it's
Hmm.
fuck knows it. Oh man, where have we ended up? Christ, we started talking about this is what happens when you get us two to talk about anything. I suppose we
I
end up.
think so. I think so.
Maybe that's a nice place to leave it. Unless you've got. It sounds like you got one more thing to add. That's cool.
I don't. I was gonna. Well, no. You know what? I'm gonna hold on to it. We'll make that a cliffhanger. I have an idea that I'm gonna hold it, which is very rare for me to keep my fucking mouth shut. So, like, this is this is where we're at. But I love. I think the one thing I would, I guess, maybe what we can say to kind of close it out is like it is really worth thinking about some of these ideas for yourself as you're if you're in the process right now of like if this resonates with you and you're feeling like yes I feel like that, whether it's like you're the party gal or you're the guy who knows everything about scotch or beers or whatever, or the
Right.
guy who knows all the drugs, right, whatever it is, like it's worth taking a minute. And even by the way, outside of the like the realm of substance use disorder too, just like in your life in general, look at all of this. You start to it's I think it's something that we can start to take away some of the layers of these things that we quote unquote are and get in touch with what's underneath all of that. And in doing so, we really start to get a different perspective on what those layers actually mean.
Oh, I think that might be the best closing statement, best closing remark that's ever come out of your mouth.
That's
And that
wow.
sounds sarcastic as fuck, but I'm being genuine.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.